Now that you are in a deep trance, we are going to give you a trigger, or reinforce it if you already have it. The trigger phrase is "I will now become Bowser." If you use this trigger phrase, or if someone that you trust says the trigger phrase "you will now become Bowser," you will undergo the transformation that you are about to experience again at whatever speed you want. Additionally, you will instantly turn back into a human if you use the reset phrase "I will no longer be Bowser," or if someone that you trust says the reset phrase "you will no longer be Bowser." Now the transformation will begin. First, feel a bunch of sliding sensations all over your body as tiny yellow scales that are smooth form around you and slide into place, replacing all of your skin as they do so. Also, any hair that you have is consumed by the scales that cover every inch of your body. Then, the scales on the front of your torso merge together so that they form 6 horizontal bands that are each 1/6 of the height of the front of your torso. As this happens, the scales on the front of your torso become a yellow-beige color. Next, your entire face elongates to form a medium-length muzzle. As this happens, your lips disappear, and your entire face below your nose swells out so that the swelled-out area almost but not quite reaches your eyes. As those sections of your scales swell out, they merge together just like the scales on the front of your torso did. And just like the scales on the front of your torso did, these scales turn that same yellow-beige color. Simultaneously, the unaffected scales on your head turn lime green and your teeth become sharp and shaped like spikes that are as tall and wide as your old teeth were. As a result of all of this, the only part of your nose that is left is your nose holes. Now, your toes merge and change shape so that you have 3 toes on each foot. They are each 1/3 as wide as your feet are and as long as your longest toe was. Simultaneously, feel your middle finger disappear and your ring finger move so that there is an equal amount of space between each of your fingers except for your thumbs. Then, all of your fingers get wider at an equal rate so that there is as much space between your remaining fingers, not counting your thumbs, as there was before your middle fingers disappeared. Despite perceiving yourself as having only 4 fingers on each hand, you will act as if you have your normal amount of fingers, and you won't be able to understand any logic when it is applied in a way that directly suggests that you are acting as if you have 5 fingers instead of 4. Then, feel 2 pulling sensations coming from the middle of the left and right sides of the part of your head that is covered in lime green scales. There, cone-like horns are forming that are 1 inch thinner than the sides of your head that they are on are tall, as well as made of a hard and durable material. The one on the right side of your head starts out pointing halfway between straight up and straight right, while the one on the left side of your head starts out pointing halfway between straight up and straight left. They both quickly curve upwards so that they point straight up by the time that they are level with the top of your head. From there, they continue upwards a distance equal to the width of the base of the horns until they each end in a sharp point. Despite the fact that your horns are dangerously sharp, you will never attempt to use them for anything, especially combat. Once your horns have formed, the scales that are within half an inch of each of your horns expand outwards 1/4 of an inch. They do so in such a way that they form the shape of the top half of a ring that goes around your horns. As this happens, they merge together and turn orange. After that, your toe and fingernails disappear, scales replacing them and leaving no trace of their existence. Then, white claws that are made of a hard and durable material start to grow out of the front of your fingers and toes. Their bases are each 1/3 as wide as the finger or toe that they are on and half as tall as that finger or toe. Also, they are horizontally and vertically centered on the finger or toe that they are on. They are half an inch long and gradually curve down and get narrower and thinner so that they each end in a dangerously sharp point that points straight down and that is level with the bottom of the finger or toe that they are on. Despite the fact that your claws are dangerously sharp, you will never attempt to use them for anything, especially combat. After that, feel a pulling sensation at the base of your spine as a tail starts to grow. It is as long as your legs are tall and starts out 1/3 as wide as you are, but gradually gets smaller until it ends in a dull point. There are white spikes 1/3 and 2/3 of the way down your tail that are located on the top of your tail as well as horizontally centered on it. They are half as wide as your tail is and 1/3 as tall as it, as well as point away from the parts of your tail that they are on. Despite the fact that your tail spikes are dangerously sharp, you will never attempt to use them for anything, especially combat. Next, thick red hair grows where your eyebrows used to be. The hair grows higher up the closer it gets to the outer sides of your face, so that the outer sides of them cover an area 4 times taller than the area covered near the inner part of your face. Also, the fifth of it closest to the inner side of your face doesn't get taller. Then, feel a circular pulling sensation that is half as wide as your head, as well as centered on the top of it, as more red hair starts to grow. It is as long as your head is wide and only grows backwards and upwards so that it forms the shape of a quarter circle. Now, your entire body is stretching so that it is twice as long and wide as it had been, while your legs shrink so that they are half as tall as they had been. Of course, your body won't actually be stretching and shrinking, and you will act as if your body is the size that it normally is. However, you will be completely unaware of this and perceive your body as having stretched and shrunk, and not be able to understand any logic when it is applied in a way that directly suggests that you are acting as if you are your normal size. After that, a hard and durable shell starts to form. It is sized so that it covers your entire back. It is mostly green, but the edges of it are white and are perfectly round, as well as 3 inches tall, long, and wide, as opposed to the rest of the shell, which is only 1 inch thick. Also, the edge of it curves around the back of your neck. The top of your shell is covered in black hexagon-shaped lines. They are each 1/4 as tall and wide as your shell is. These hexagons form a pattern of hexagons that connect on all sides that starts on the horizontal center of your shell as well as 3/8 down from the top of it, but that doesn't go onto the edge and back of it. Additionally, on the center of each whole hexagon there is a spike centered on it that points away from the part of your shell that it is on. These spikes are shaped exactly like the spikes on your tail are shaped. Despite its extreme weight, you will find that your new shell doesn't inhibit you in any way and that it is very comfortable. Also, regardless of the fact that your shell spikes are dangerously sharp and the fact that your shell is hard and durable, you will never attempt to use it to do anything, especially combat and defending yourself. Next, your irises turn red. Finally, the effects of this hypnosis file will become inactive if they are a risk to your physical body or your well-being, if they are a risk to your social or professional life, if there is an emergency that they would prevent you from dealing with to the best of your abilities, or if they are a risk to your mental health. Also, any effect of this hypnosis file that was an issue will become active again once it no longer will be one. Additionally, you will never find this hypnosis file or the effects of it even slightly addicting. Now you have been transformed into Bowser, so I recommend that you avoid plumbers, especially Italian plumbers trying to save princesses. This session is almost over, so goodbye, my spiky-shelled friend.